The empty wallet. Contentment and God's provision. Philippians chapter 4 verse 12 to 13. I have learned the secret of being content in any and every situation. I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. It was one of those dry, dusty afternoons in Lagos when even the air feels tired. Tunde sat behind his small wooden counter, staring at his wallet. Flat, empty, and quietly mocking him. G had just spent his last 20,000 nairas to restock his tiny shop, hoping sales would pick up. But the day dragged on. People walked by without stopping. A few glanced his way, but kept moving. He looked around the shop. Bottles neatly arranged, snacks in order, yet silence filled the air. He sighed, long and heavy. God, I'm trying. I really am. But how long will this go on? His phone buzzed. A text from his landlord. Remember your rent, due next week. Tunde closed his eyes, frustration rising like heat. That was when he heard a small, shy voice. Uncle, please, can you help me buy bread? My mummy said I should ask. It was the boy from across the street, 7, maybe 8. Always smiling despite wearing slippers that had seen better days. Tunde forced a polite smile. Ah, not today, my boy. The child nodded and walked away. Still polite, still hopeful. But something in Tunde's chest tugged. She looked at the bread seller a few meters away, then back at his wallet. Empty except for 2 receipts and a photo of his late mother. He whispered, Lord, if I give, what will I have left? And deep within, a quiet thought echoed. If you can't trust me with a loaf, how will you trust me with a store? He paused, feeling that familiar wrestle between logic and faith. Then, almost without thinking, he stood up, crossed the road, and bought a loaf of bread. Here, take it, he said softly. The boy's eyes lit up. Thank you, sir, thank you. That smile, that unfiltered joy, pierced right through the weight in Tunde's chest. He returned to his shop, lighter somehow, though his wallet was still empty. That evening, just as he was about to close up, a woman walked in. I've been looking for a place to buy bulk drinks for a small event, she said. She bought in quantity, enough to cover his rent and restock, and she paid cash. Tunde stood speechless. He smiled to himself and whispered, You really do see me, Lord. That night, he sat by the small lamp in his room and wrote in his notebook, It is not about what I have or don't have. It is about who I'm learning to trust. He remembered Paul's words, I have learnt the secret of being content. And for the first time those words made sense. It wasn't about pretending everything was fine. It was about resting in the truth that God provides. Sometimes through people, sometimes through peace. Sometimes after the wallet empties so faith can grow. He closed his notebook and smiled. That empty wallet had taught him something no business course ever could. When you give out of lack, you make room for grace. Now pause and think, have you ever been in a moment when lack made you doubt God's care? What if that emptiness wasn't punishment, but preparation? Could your delay be God training your heart to depend on Him, not your income? When your resources dry up, do you still believe His promises flow? Sometimes God doesn't fill your wallet first, He fills your heart. And once your heart learns to rest in Him, provision follows, in His time, in His way. Lord, teach me to trust You when my hands are empty. Remind me that my value is not in what I have, but in the peace that comes from knowing You'll provide. When the wallet is empty but the heart is full, heaven calls that abundance.